Welcome to Red VTV, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2025 season. And with 20 days to go before the big kickoff, it's time for one of our newest saints, Kevin.
It's time for our number 20. It's Lewis Murphy. And Lewis is sponsored by Accord Legal Services.
Cord Legal Services, another local company dealing with wills, probate, lasting power of attorney, and they will give free wills for NHS staff, Kevin. Um,
Uh,
They're also proud to work with a number of organisations to broaden their range of services available, and they also support a number of charities through their charitable will service. Just having a look at the list of clients on their website and their trusted partners, and it's the latest and greatest of this world. So yeah, they're the people to see, and they will be sponsoring one of Saint Speedsters this year in Lewis Murphy, Kev. And the question to
easy.
start with: will he start on the wing?
I was going to say easy for you to say. St. Helens Speedster there. Will he start on the wing? Wouldn't surprise me if he did. Wouldn't surprise me if he didn't. I think it's John Bennison's shirt to lose. I think I've said that a couple of times over pre-season. But you're not necessarily bringing Lewis Murphy back from Australia for him to kick his heel on the bench or in the stands. You're bringing him in to play. Wouldn't surprise me to see him in round one lining up on that left wing at all.
In that case, then, Kev, when has John Bennison lost the shirt? Pre-season?
Yeah, well, that's if he does start, then yeah, it's obviously the thing that they've seen a little bit more from one player above another because that's all they've got to base it on. Um, so if he does start in round one, yeah, John's
Is,
obviously lost for some reason in pre-season.
is it a case of not necessarily lost the shirt but lost the position? So, as Lewis Murphy potentially took the 20 shirt because we got stung by giving Wonga Blake the jersey we did last season.
Well, I don't think Murphy's played in a high squad number anyway. I don't think not entirely sure he ever played for a high squad number for Wakefield. I'm sure people put me right in the comments if that's not the case. So I don't necessarily think the number's that big of a deal probably to him at the moment, or based on giving Wonga the number 3 shirt. I think that was just the shirt that we'd left open. I think we'd given John the number 5 shirt. He ended the season playing out on that left wing and doing pretty well when he came back into the team. There's no reason to take it off him. No reason to rock the boat there. So Lewis just gets one of these shirts in the top 20, and that won't matter as if for him as long as he's on the pitch more often than not this season.
In 2022, Kevin, Lewis Murphy made 21 appearances for Wakefield. How many tries?
Was it a ridiculous amount like 20?
19.
Oh, off the bar.
19 tries in 20 to 21 appearances. If he can have any sort of return like that for us, he'll be one of the best in the league.
Yeah. It means that our style of play will have changed a little bit more. And we've got it out to the wingers. I know John Benison picked up a couple of tries last year, but for a strike rate like that, if he can return anything like that this season, um, it hopefully will show that we've played a slightly different attacking style of play than just driving it up the middle, and then a bomb on the last.
The only concern for many will be, obviously, I've given you those stats for 2022. Since then, he's made 10 appearances.
Yeah,
7 of them in the Queensland Cup, where he scored 1 try for Sydney's reserves. Um, that's the concern, isn't it? That is is he potentially, I want to say, a warning sign for young players who are developing their careers and suddenly jump at the opportunity to go to Australia maybe too early before they're going to go over there established. But
yeah,
then
but
have you got
if
Herbie Farmway from the likes who did make it?
you've just got the likes of if you get that opportunity, how are you going to turn it down? or are you going to look for your development like Dom Young? You're going to look for your development in that environment and look to push on. If he's been unfortunate with injuries over there, it's not necessarily his fault, is it? So it is a concern that he's had injury issues. Obviously, you've got to look at that and just have that in the back of your mind. But as we always say about Super League and the NRL, it is a step down in class week in week out. I'm going to say, probably in intensity week in week out, and hopefully that with when Curtis Sirenman came across to us, I think there were some doubts over whether like he would stay fit, and in the main, he's been absolutely fine. So hopefully the same will happen to Lewis Murphy,
Yeah,
albeit
obviously
I know positions.
Lewis, he suffered that ACL injury very early into 2023, didn't he? Which obviously meant he didn't play for Wakefield for the rest of the year. Then he's gone to Sydney and had his year over there. All the signs are, and all what we're hearing is that he's retained that pace, and he's still as electric. So we're just hoping for an injury-free year, aren't we, for Lewis and for him to regain and recapture that magic that we know he's got.
Yeah, and you're looking for him to provide that spark, provide that pace. I like that with good defensive reads as well, because while everybody wants to see him taking the ball 70, 80, 90 meters, it's not all about that. The game isn't always about getting your winger free and setting him loose down the touchline. It's about staying in a battle sometimes. So, say we're over at Wigan, the opportunity to go 90 meters may not be on the cards. And it'll maybe a back to the wall for the last 10 minutes, or they come out first 20 and absolutely take the game by the scruff of the neck, where you've got to dig in. So you want to see both sides of his game being shown, because otherwise it's where John Bennison has proved that he can do it. I don't think he's necessarily been consistent every single week at doing it, as I think he got taken out against Salford after Salford, wasn't it? When we spoke about him on the instant fan reaction. But he's shown he can do that side of the game, and the trust is probably there because he's been at the club for so long.
When was the last time that Saints had genuine strike power on both wings at the same in the same season?
When we had Regan Grace and Tommy Makers.
So it's been 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
If we've suddenly got Kyle Felt on one wing, Lewis Murphy on the other, you've got Tristan Murphy. Tristan Saylor. Tristan Murphy's Lewis's long lost brother. Tristan Saylor.
Lewis, yeah.
Tristan Saylor ripping it up down the middle. It allows Jack Wellsby a little bit more freedom and a bit more space. All of a sudden, we've got a transformed attack.
Yeah, yeah, arguably so. Allowing your backs to kind of play a little bit, do we say off the cuff? Possibility, isn't there?
Without Tommy Makinson there now, does our style in how we bring it away from the line change? Are we expecting Kyle Felt and Lewis Murphy to be taking the first 2 or 3 carries in a set from deep in our own half?
I don't see loads and loads changing all at once. I think in the Wello interview, he said it about the kicking game where it's going to be evolution rather than revolution. Well, they were my lines, but that's what he was getting at. I think that's where Coddy takes a couple of some of the first runs out. Percy takes them out. Lewis Murphy, John Bennison, whoever's out on that wing, Kyle Felt. That's just what happens. Yeah, I don't see loads and loads changing in that. I'd love it to not be the case, but I think that's just what you do to make sure your forwards can take in the later ones in the set.
Okay. Right, Kev, that's our number 20 done and dusted. We will be back tomorrow with another player preview. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.